Hey everybody. So it's hello, hello, hello. I'm just going through a lot of my old notes from like last year and the year before on the things that I have spoken about, talked about, and how they um how they've come to be, like how they're um you know, for instance, let's just do a for instance here. The talk of um a kill switch on electric cars. That's been talked about recently in the news, and I was talking about that way back in December and November of last year. Uh, Pensions and the talking about pensions. Well, now they are coming out and starting to talk about pensions and how pensions are, having problems with keeping up with pensions for people. So that's been coming out. A decreasing of birth rates and an alarming rate of birth of children being born is starting to decrease. So these things I was talking about before, and those are, some of the things that are coming out in the news and are being talked about right now. And also with the Jupiter Neptune that's coming out, and the Jupiter Neptune is like a lot to do with a switch of energies that's coming in. And it's like what was down was up, what was up was down. So a whole change in energies that are coming in. And this is where a lot of, even when Snowden, the guy, came out and talked about a supercomputer and having the supercomputer, and the supercomputer came out in October 2019. It's owned by Google, and it's in like way down in a basement, like a huge, because it has to be kept cool. So they have a supercomputer that can analyze things in less than 2 minutes. If they're trying to put something together with finding facts about something. So they have that supercomputer in that's going on. So we have a lot that's coming up for us at this time, and this is where we have to start. And I also talked about April 15th um, coming in, and they said a lot about April 15th too. April 15th was the date last year that they wanted everybody to have the shot, and now they're sort of pulling back on that. And that was for last year, where they're not pushing it as much. Uh, Change is, of course, inevitable, and change is coming in, and we're going to be feeling the crunch more and more. But I'm going to say, for here right now, I'm going to give us 6 months. 6 months before we start really feeling a crunch, or you know the real shit hitting the fan. And the reason, and I think that brings us like April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So that brings us to October, and I would say November, September, October. That brings us to September, October, and I would say November, that things will really feel a crunch with everything. Um, the reason being, it's going to be seeing how the yields go and stuff for the farmers and how much they can produce. It's a late seeding. Soon it'll all be digital food care, a digital food. Yeah, um, they're already doing that. Actually, Amazon's already doing that. They already have the store. The stores have been up in LA, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, and different places. So they've already started doing that in many different places, in the States and in parts of Europe as well. So things are getting a little bit crazy. And I think, last year was, last week was a little bit in the intensity of the energies. We're feeling it. This week, I think it's really, even with the moon being in Leo, the moon's in Leo right now. So it's very fiery, and wanting to do things, but it's also squaring over to Mercury and doing a square over to Mercury right now. And so I feel like, when the moon squares over to Mercury, and Mercury is, where are you, Mercury? 29 degrees. So it's at the last phases of being in Aries and going into Taurus, and then meeting up for the first time the North Node there, and Uranus. This is where I feel like it's like we're sort of coming to a, wanting to get more information. Like we're hot, we're fiery, we're going through things. Yet we're going to come into Taurus, we're going to come into this energy, and we want information. We want to be able to do things. We want to be able to have clarity on the direction we're going. Yet the clarity is very very heavy. And the information is very heavy that's coming through. And especially as we are, preparing ourselves for war, or we're already in it, actually. And when I heard about Germany and the inflation in Germany, I'm like, that's where Uranus is in when inflation rates were so high, that it costs so much money to get a loaf of bread. It costs so much money. So the German people, I mean, the ones, the grandmothers and the great grandmothers would remember. The 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 young people there now would not have remembered, or not have really known the what their grandmothers and great grandmothers went through during the depression and during the war, of not having food, and what that not having food is. That's very, that's where we're going. And I was mentioning about Pluto a few months ago, when Pluto hit Pluto, and telling people, okay, that's, that's within 1776 in the United States, and everything to do with the states. But the year after came Valley Forge. Valley Forge, when you look at things that happened the next year in 1777, there was disease, there was shortage, supply chain issues, there was famine, and people were not prepared. People were not ready for what was actually coming in. And that's what we're going to start to see. We're going to start to see a lot of people are not prepared. They're not ready for what the changes are that are coming in. I just did a short little video because I was in over Save on Foods, but their music was too loud, and anyways, it was very hard to film, as I'd have to turn off the volume and everything. So, anyways, probably could have done that. But what I noticed is, increases in things where bacon is one. So bacon is now their cheaper version was 7.39 for 350 grams. And if you wanted the real good back bacon and stuff like that, it's like $9. Um, and it's always in a smaller package. And so that has gone up. And just about 2 weeks ago, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, they had a sale on the bacon that you buy two for, I think it was like two for nine. No, it was less than $9. Two for $2. You buy 2 packs of bacon. I think it was 2 packs of bacon for $7 or something like that. And I did pack up on some, but I hate to say we're bacon eaters. So this is where you are going to start seeing whatever's on sale right now is where an increase is going to be happening. That's what I've noticed. So if things are on sale right now, you're going to see an increase. I already saw an increase within the water um coming in, and when I bought another couple 2 cases of water, and they were very limited. I mean, they were almost sold out of all the water. And the guy said to me, because I asked, when another shipment would be coming in. He goes, right now, he goes, the orders are in, and same with the eggs. The orders are in. So the shipment's coming in. Usually he says we have shipments in the evening, but we can't plan on what's going to be on the shipments anymore. And he goes, "We're not the only ones." He said Safeway, Sobeys, um, many of the big chains, Costco and everything, they're experiencing the same thing. So you're going to be seeing where a lot of things are being pushed up to the front, and um, to sort of make the shelves look like they're more full, so people don't start panic buying. But we are going to see things starting to and we're going to feel next week is going to be a quite a heavy week, as we're building up to that full moon in Libra, and feeling that sort of okay, we're trying to balance things out, get the feeling that justice and everything, but we still there's still this feeling of it's not real. This can't be. I mean, we just went through a pandemic. We just went through everything. And how can this be real? How can this really be happening? Like this can't, whatever's happening there in the Ukraine has nothing to do with me. Whatever's happening there in Europe has nothing to do with me. So this isn't real. That's just their stuff. And we're going to be um it's the connection. It's our connection. It's the supply chain, etc. So what to do, and here I go again. It's, I hate, I got to tell you guys, start stocking up even more. You can stock up so much. It's building the communications with other people and building communications in for things, and also have a plan for your family in case you have to meet somewhere. So let's say you're at work and something crazy happens. Let's say the power grid goes down and you need to meet up with your family or your husband, your wife, your children, whoever. Is there a plan in place to say, okay, we can't get home right now, but we can meet up at such and such a place if this happens, so that we can, convene and figure out what our next move is. So this is where it's very important to do that. Even in, I mean, that's a good thing to do, even if, let's say, a tornado hit Alberta or whatever, because we're known for tornadoes and stuff. So things like that, something happens that you have a place in plan, a place have something in plan, a plan, a place, a plan in place. That's it. A plan in place. That's it. That's it. That's it. So, and it is going to be important. We are we are coming into some crazy energies and crazy times with everything. And in doing all of this, somebody said to me, says, "Well, that's not very spiritual." And I'm like, being prepared is spiritual. Being prepared for everything that you have to do is a spiritual thing. Doing your prayers and your mantras and however your spiritual world looks like, it's that's being prepared. I mean, when you're doing um prayers and meditations and journaling and connecting with nature, you're preparing yourself, you're preparing your body. It's like anytime when you're going out and exercising, eating right, I mean, you're fueling your body, you're preparing for things. And this is just a mundane way of getting things done. Peace of mind to prepare, definitely, Jennifer. And it's so important for us to be doing it. And and I know, like today, I when I went, and it was just a quick stop because we needed eggs and milk. Um, then of course when I buy the eggs and milk, and then of course I buy a couple other things. But I'm on a very frugal budget, if you could say, on what I can do and can't do right now. And as Steve is recovering, and things are, you know rearranging within our lives. And this is where it's like, okay, this is where, even for me to start looking at, how can I rearrange for me, my life? What can I be doing to create, a side hustle? And that's what I mentioned today, looking at different ways to create prosperity and abundance in your life. What can you be doing to create a little extra within your life? And what does that look like, to create it? And it could be that you're going to sell essential oils, or you are wanting to grow extra in your garden and you're going to do the markets and stuff like that. whatever it is. This is where I think it's time for us to start looking at different things that we can start creating for ourselves as a side hustle. It could be that you're a great seamstress and you're really good at sewing, whatever it is. Let's say you're good at sewing dresses or shirts or whatever. That could be a little side hustle for you, on doing some little seamstress work and that as things, because people, this is where we have to start looking at what are people going to be doing. People are going to not be going to the retail store to buy a new shirt. Maybe they're going to be looking like, how do I mend, how do I, how do I patch up my clothes so that I can continue to wear them? What can I get that's going to give me some longevity? This is where people's thoughts are. This is where things are. And when times are hard, people start to look at frugal ways of doing things. And this is where it's like, okay, if I'm a skilled sewer, or if I'm a skilled um, mechanic, is there a side hustle I can do there? What does that look like? What is what would that bring in for me? Because most people cannot work. That's the other thing. Most people cannot work on their own cars. They have no idea. I mean, just for me to get to my battery in my bloody Jeep, it's a pain in the freaking ass, man. Um, you can't, it's very difficult to, I can't go in there and change my spark plugs, or, do anything on my own, or even changing the oil. So this is where it's like, maybe there's somebody that, side hustles are going to be a big one coming in for people and doing those things. So this is where I think, we can start thinking outside the box, start preparing ourselves for different things, creating new ways of bringing in the prosperity into our lives and what that looks like. It could be like, maybe you're very good with social media or something, and you're going to create, what, I can help a few people and create a website, create this or do, and help them in some way as an exchange, not for free, but as, yeah, I'll do that for you, but I need $50 or I need $100 or whatever it is. This is to create the abundance and begin to look at new ways of creating that abundance and how you can create that new side hustle for yourself. And I'm going to say that I feel like that's really going to be a huge strategy as we go forward. You might have a farm and maybe you have chickens, and laying chickens is like, can you sell the can you sell the eggs? I mean, it's not a big side hustle. You're probably not going to get rich doing it unless you have a lot of chickens. But this is where, maybe it's the chicken poop that you can sell. Maybe it's the worm farming. Maybe it's, the composting. All of these different things are little side hustles that can actually, create some form of abundance. It's getting yourself prepared and getting yourself going, because it might be small right now, but it can grow to something more in a year to 2 years as the purse strings start to get tighter, in the world, and as the increase of products, becomes more. So little things that and this is the other thing too, is like, my dad had nabob cans filled with all the different, and they were all in all the same screws he had, and it seemed crazy at the time, right? Or why did they save so many buttons? Right? So all the buttons off of old shirts and redoing these are, it sounds, it's like, some people are going like, that sounds crazy, Mary. You're just going nut again. But these are the things that could be it. It could be that you might be the person to do a how-to video and film a how-to video on doing different forms of cross stitch. Or there is a woman that is that does she's on Instagram and I follow her, and it's so cool watching her doing different stitches. So you got a hole in something and how she can stitch it up. And I save her videos because there's some really good information there on sewing up a pair of pants, hemming a pants, or if you got a hole in your sweater or something. So these are things that maybe, even for yourself, maybe you can do a quick little video on stitching. And that can either become monetized, or that could become where somebody asks you, "Can you do this for me? I'm not very good with this." And who knows? So I'm feeling the energies this week is really to start to get creative on new things that you can start doing for yourself. Start putting things in motion of what it is that you can create. There might be 1,000 different videos on pressure canning, but you got to remember there's a billion people in the world. So it doesn't matter how many canning or pressure canning videos that are out there or other things. It could be that you're doing this and it's feeding the community you live in, which is huge because then you're making those connections with the people that you have around. Maybe you're good at drying foods or doing different things with fruit or something like that. So there's just like it's endless. It's endless of the things that we need to start looking at on creating for ourselves. So the energies are there for us to start doing it, and it's to step into the positive light with this all. Because I feel like this week is really there's going to be a huge ramping up of this week and a huge um more upsets as we go towards this week. The bigger crunch is within 6 months. That's when I feel like things are really going to, like, people are going to feel it. And, trying to get through between now, this is great time. It's spring. So get through the spring and the summer to, so that we can get through the winter. So this is really a ramping up time on let's get busy on the things that we can do and creating the abundance for ourselves in different ways. And some of it might take some time, and it could be anything, it could be art. Like, are you a good artist? I mean, all my paintings, I've taken classes to paint. There's a few of them I just sort of did off the cuff, but most of them are all through classes. So that's how I love to paint. I love to paint with in a class with people, instructions. That's my thing. So where is it that you want to, put your energy into some kind of, and I'm going to call it the side hustle. So starting to look at side hustles, because there's the other thing is that as things get crazier or prices go up, more people are going to get laid off because less people are going to be shopping. So there's not going to be as many people or retail outlets that are going to be there as well. So this is where thinking outside of the box is going to be important. And the other part too is like it's things that people can utilize and use are going to be important. Um, because of how money's going to be and the scarcity of the money, like people are going to be very frugal again. Frugal. This is not like 2008 was, I mean, to me 2008 was fine. Like I could get through 2008. But 2008 wasn't like this is different. This feels different. The energies are different. And I think that's because of the war and the energies of what the war in Europe affects the world more so than the war in the Middle East. And that's that's history. That's the way things have gone throughout history. So it affects us more in many ways. I think this is really going to get awakening call to the states on their southern border and putting a ramp down on the southern border. That's there's going to be pressure on the states for that because it's impacting not only them, but it's impacting many of us. So this is great change that we're heading into. But there's some great abundance and nuances and new ways of looking at the world around us that is going to lead us. I'm looking at my coffee mug and Moana, and she talked about her people were travelers. Their people went to new lands. I love her. Look at her rooster. Love that. Um, Looked for new lands. They got in their boats. To seek new lands, seek new places. And I think that's, for many of us, we're going to be seeking new lands and new places and new ways of doing things. Maybe it's not necessarily that we're getting in a boat and we're sailing across the ocean, but we are going to be finding it within in our own, um, in our own area. So, and really doing connections within our own area. So, yeah, it's that's where we're at. That's where the energies are right now today. Um, I had my grandson over last night. He slept over last night, but he's sick and he didn't sleep very well. And then he just wanted, he was up coughing. He has a really, really bad cough and coughing a lot and stuff, a lot of mucus and stuff. And that scares him because he's going to throw up or what have you. And I think he's given me some of whatever he has because I'm feeling a wee bit under the weather right now. I could feel it coming on. So I'm going to boost up my whatever I need to boost. I'm going to boost myself up. And I slept in today too. Like I just was exhausted through this last month, and didn't realize how exhausted I was, and I think it caught up with me last night, and then finally with Mateus being up most of the night. And then when I fell back asleep, I was out till 8:30 this morning, which is for me, that's late. That's late. I'm up at 6 or 5:30. Um, Usually Monday, all the time. But that was just crazy. So, take care of yourselves because there is a lot flu. It's springtime. So a lot of colds are going around and stuff, so uh and there's also a lot of snow mold. Snow is melting and stuff like that. So the snow mold coming out. So just honor yourself with everything as we are transitioning to a new world, a new time, and a new era. So going to send you guys off with so much love. I just want to touch base today. If you are wanting a reading, get a hold of me. My spring readings are on sale until next Monday, Easter Monday. We're heading into Easter week. So so we have Easter week coming up, and those who have ordered their full moon readings, they'll be receiving them this week. Within probably Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll be receiving them. And yeah, so onwards and upwards, people. Definitely book your readings in, and new classes and stuff I'll be posting out some new classes. And then in the next couple weeks, we'll be posting out some of the new classes that will be coming up for May and June. So if you're interested in doing some classes, the classes are all online. So share out my videos and stuff like that. Please share, like, subscribe, get notification, press the little bell, and let's share and let's get out there, everyone. Smile, be those bright little lights that you are, and may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say, in all that you be, in all that you do. Blessed be everybody. Thanks for coming in, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.